And right now, new images of the Upper West Side stabbing suspect in court facing hate crime and attempted murder charges. What his mother had to say after he went before a judge. But first, breaking news right now. Well, police have had to open fire in Queens after officers say a barricaded man comes out of a house following an explosion, wielding a shotgun and wearing tactical gear. Good evening. I'm Arthur Chi. All of this unfolding in the Far Rockaway section of Queens. That is where our Richard Jacobus is live with the late-breaking details on this. Good evening, Richard.
Arthur, what a crazy day. We can report that two people inside that home in Far Rockaway are dead tonight. The suspect, a member of their own family who allegedly shot both of them dead before setting the house on fire and watching it burst into flames. The heart-pounding 911 call came in from that suspect's wife. At around noon today, she told cops that her husband was armed with a shotgun and was threatening to kill. When police arrived here at 2533 Ocean Crest Boulevard in Far Rockaway, the wife is outside, and she tells police her husband is still inside and still armed. So cops call for backup. They attempt to make contact with that suspect during this time, but instead of surrendering, police say he sets the home ablaze and it explodes. Still armed, he finally walks out of the house wearing a tactical vest, but doesn't comply when the emergency services unit asks him to drop his weapon.
Officers issued numerous verbal commands for the subject to put his hands up so he could drop the weapon. After failing to comply with repeat commands to put his hands up and still armed with his shotgun, officers destroyed their weapon and struck the subject. Officers took the subject into custody and rendered aid. He's currently at Jamaica Hospital in critical but stable condition.
Now, that suspect has been identified tonight as 33-year-old Keegan Thompson. He has no criminal history and no documented history of any mental illness. We can also report tonight that there were neighbors who were evacuated in nearby homes and buildings once that home was set on fire by police. The two police officers were also taken to the hospital as a precaution tonight. Again, two people dead inside that home in Far Rockaway from the suspect who happens to be a member of their own family. It is so tragic and heartbreaking. We're live in Far Rockaway tonight. Richard Jacobus, Fox 5 News. Arthur.
All right, our thanks to Richard. And developing news tonight, nearly 24 people, including 17 firefighters, have been hurt as a fire rips through 3 buildings in College Point, Queens. FDNY is saying about 250 firefighters and EMS members responded to this massive fire on 41st Road just before 10 this morning. Officials say the flames spread quickly through the wood frame buildings that are nearly 100 years old before that situation could be brought under control. There were also reports of people trapped inside.
Members from Rescue 4 were able to get above the fire on the 2nd floor of the main fire building without the protection of a hose line, under high heat and zero visibility. They performed searches. We practice and drill on this constantly, and they were able to rescue an occupant on the 2nd floor.
One person in the home has suffered serious injuries. The other injuries are considered non-life-threatening at this time. About a dozen people are also displaced. The cause is now being investigated. Now to new developments in the stabbings of 2 men on the Upper West Side. The suspect now facing hate crime and attempted murder charges. Fox 5's Francis Wang was in the courtroom as the suspect went before a judge and is live in the newsroom right now with the latest for us. Good evening, Francis.
Hey, good evening, Arthur. Yeah, Raul Morales was denied bail and remains in custody tonight. Prosecutors now upgrading those charges, seeking hate crime enhancements on the attempted murder and assault charges involving both the Jewish and Asian victims. Here's what else we learned during his arraignment in that courtroom. Prosecutors say that in addition to yelling Allahu Akbar, Morales also shouted justice for Islam. We also learned a Good Samaritan was the one who followed Morales to the apartment where he was reportedly staying near the scene of the stabbings. And about 15 minutes later, he surrendered to police, emerging in a different set of clothes. After obtaining a search warrant, investigators searched the apartment. And according to the criminal complaint, they found 2 Qurans, a Jehovah's Witness Bible, and a book containing writings by Karl Marx. As for the two victims tonight, they are expected to recover. Prosecutors also say the Asian man who was stabbed first suffered such severe injuries that surgeons had to remove the knife from his back. At the end of the arraignment, as Morales was led out of the courtroom, he turned to a woman sitting in the gallery, believed to be his mother, and yelled, "I love you, Mom," followed by "Justice for Romero." We try to ask her what he meant as she left the courthouse.
Ms. Romero, is there a reason he said justice for you? Ma'am, your son is accused of stabbing two people, and he yelled out your name when he was brought out of the police precinct.
You could hear there she did not want to answer our questions. Morales also shouted a similar phrase, "Justice for Romero," when he faced cameras first as he was being transported to that courthouse. If convicted, Morales could face decades in prison. He is due back in court on Thursday. Arthur.
All right. Thank you very much, Francis. Turning our attention to the Middle East now, where there has been an escalation of attacks over vital shipping routes. Houthi rebels in Yemen say they have fired missiles and drones towards oil facilities in Saudi Arabia. The Houthis, who've threatened to shut down key trading routes in the Red Sea, say today's attacks are in response to Saudi Arabian attacks against them. The world economy is already squeezed by Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz, and in Iran, for the first time in nearly 2 weeks, there were no reported U.S. strikes. However, tensions between the U.S. and Iran remain high. Maine Democrats choosing Troy Jackson today to run against longtime Republican Senator Susan Collins come this November. Jackson is a former state lawmaker and has the support of Senator Bernie Sanders. He backs progressive policies, including Medicare for all and abolishing ICE. Jackson replaces Graham Plattner, who won the Democratic primary in June, only to withdraw earlier this month following an alleged rape claim, which he denies. Democrats consider Maine their party's best chance to flip a seat in the Senate.
This election is not going to be decided by corporate PACs, big pharma, insurance companies, or the billionaires funding Susan Collins. It will be decided in union halls and at kitchen tables.
Jackson faces an uphill battle, though, to defeat Susan Collins. She is a 5-term incumbent with a significant fundraising advantage. President Trump taking the stage at the rescheduled White House Correspondents' Dinner, cracking jokes and hurling insults. Last night was the second Correspondents' Dinner. The first was held in April and was abruptly cut short after a gunman opened fire in the hotel where the event was being hosted. The shooting and aftermath was all caught on camera in real time. This time, the event was held at the Waldorf Astoria in Washington under tighter security. Trump's speech lasted over an hour and was filled with posh shots taken at various celebrities. And then he said something he says was in jest.
My intention to run for a 4th term as President of the United States. I will be doing that. I will be having an official. In fact, I think I have, I won 3 times. Now I'm going to do it again.
Well, legally, at least, Trump is not eligible to run for a 3rd term as the Constitution currently stands. Now, turning our attention back to the tri-state area now, time to take a look at our weather, and it has looked glorious after more than a month of weekends where it seemed like rain was always in the forecast. This one is turning out very differently. Meteorologist Audrey Puente is here with our first look at our forecast. Hey, Audrey.
Hi there, Arthur. We are enjoying a nice stretch of fabulous weather across the entire tri-state area. We had a nice finish to the week. We're taking it right into this weekend. It's going to be comfortably cool overnight tonight, a great night to give the AC a break and let the fresh air in. And tomorrow we're going to enjoy another day with beautiful weather. Rain chances will be returning as we go into next week, and we do have a storm threat also as we go into the following week ahead of us. 77 in sunshine being found in Central Park right now. We do have 78 degrees out at LaGuardia Airport. Atlantic City is checking in with partly cloudy skies and a temperature of 75 degrees. A look at the radar shows dry conditions all across the tri-state area. It's mostly clear for the most part across much of the region. In fact, most of the Northeast is experiencing very tranquil weather pattern here. A couple of clouds are decorating the sky out out towards western New York and western Pennsylvania. But we're all under the influence of high pressure, and that's keeping things very nice on this summer day here on this Saturday. So we're planning for a very quiet evening and a comfortable one across the region. Temperatures will mostly be in the 70s as we go through the evening hours, but we're going to drop down into the 60s by tomorrow morning here in the city. We'll even have some 50s off to the north and west, and there will be a chance of an isolated shower, I think, by tomorrow afternoon up towards the north, but most of us will be dry, especially at the area beaches. As I mentioned, we do have the threat of rain as we go into next week. The details on that coming up. Arthur?
All right, thank you so much, Audrey. When the cars are away, the pedestrians will play. That was the way things were in Queens today, and we're going to be taking you out to see the traffic-free fun taking place along Vernon Boulevard.